Are you a nurse or midwife? Do you want to know how to register with the UK NMC using your school's transcript plus supporting information from your employer without having to worry your head with IELTS or OET? If you have said yes to this question, then this video is specifically made for you. In this video, I'm going to share with you how Marites, a Filipino nurse who came to the UK, used her school transcript as well as supporting information from an employer to register with the UK NMC to become a nurse. And then the good aspect is that she did not have to worry her head with IELTS or OET. This story I'm going to share with you has been certified by the UK NMC, and at the end of this video, I'll share with you where you can find to read on the UK NMC's website. Anyways, my name is Esther Matma. If today is your first time on my channel, I really appreciate you for being here. What I want to say is that don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that I become part of the family, so that anytime I share a new video, you'll be the very first person to watch. I was doing a bit of research on the UK NMC's website and I came across this story about Marites, who happens to be a nurse from the Filipinos. She's been in the UK for a couple of years now and has been struggling to pass her OET, but eventually became successful by using her school's transcript as well as supporting information from an employer. So I'm going to read her story and then you'll get to see what is happening. I believe that sharing this story with you, you'll be able to pick up some key terms and key things you've got to do if you meet the criteria to use your school's transcript as well as supporting information from an employer. So let's start with that. So as you can see, this is a picture of Marit, who happens to be a Filipino nurse. So the story reads, Marit is a registered nurse from the Philippines with years of experience specializing in critical care and additional experience working as a nurse in Libya. So she's worked in Libya as well. And in 2018, Marit moved to the UK to join her husband. So for you might be in the same situation. There are some nurses who have been moved in here to join their husbands. There are some midwives who have been moved in here to join their husbands. And they feel like they wouldn't want to let their skills back home go to waste. So if you fall in this category, then you share the same story as Marites. She began to work as a senior care assistant in a UK nursing home and then decided to pursue a preparatory nursing course from a UK university to help her progress towards NMC registration. Though she found it challenging to balance studies, work and then family responsibilities, she was determined to continue my nursing career and then maintain my skills. I was so exhausted, but with the immense support of my husband, I successfully completed the course and then earned a certificate. Despite her efforts, Mary still didn't have the English language evidence she needed to register as a nurse in the UK. She took the OET language test, but what happened? Let's see. Unfortunately, missed one of the required scores she needed to be able to register. The story goes on to say that unable to progress with her NMC registration, Marit moved to the NHS to work as a healthcare assistant, where she remained for almost 6 years. She found it very difficult not to be able to use her nursing skills in practice. It is frustrating, especially when there is shortage of nurses. I knew I'm confident though to handle the job because with my long experience as a trained nurse back home and with my specialties and expertise, I knew that I'll be a great asset to the unit. In 2002, Marit heard from a colleague about supporting information from employers, a potential new evidence type for internationally educated nurses seeking to register with the NMC. So she heard this from a friend, and trust me, there are some people up to now who haven't even heard that if you are struggling to pass IELTS or OET, you can use supporting information from your employer. Such people have lived in the UK for so long, working as healthcare assistants, working as senior carers and stuff, but they don't know about this and they are battling their heads with IELTS or OET. I mean, yeah. And sometimes it's just about making research, reaching out to people, and then see what the possibilities are. And this is what this lady was fortunate to have gotten herself into. So for her, she heard this from someone. Hearing about SIFE, Marit was inspired by the possibility. To use it, Marit had to provide a letter from her school confirming the nursing course she completed in the Philippines was taught in English. So if you meet the criteria for using your school's transcript as well as using supporting information from an employer, the very first thing you've got to do is to prove that your courses were taught and examined in English. And in this case, you've got to reach back to your school back home for them to get a letter of reference stating that all the courses you did were taught in English, and that is exactly what Marites did. Yeah, so people have been asking me how they can go about using their school's transcript as well as using supporting information from employers, and I'll say start with that. Just reach out to your school and then let them draft a letter for you stating that your courses were done and taught in English and all those stuff. Okay, yeah, so that's how it starts. So after doing that, what happens? Let's see. She began preparing her NMC registration application and contacted her employer. So after contacting her school to get a letter to say that her courses were taught in English, she started her NMC registration and then spoke to her employer to also make themselves ready for, supporting information from employers. So her employer agreed to provide SIFE. And me using SIFE in this case is the short form of supporting information from employees. Okay, so if you are confused about that, that's how it means. But warned that they had no nursing vacancies available at that time, Marites didn't give up. I remained determined to stay strong and hold on to the faith that I would soon resume practicing my profession. So she was eager and determined to use her skills back home in here. Marites continued with her NMC application and passed her test of competence in July 2023, which is last year. She was then able to use SAFE to complete her registration. So that's good news for her. Marites received her PIN in October 2023, 6 years after moving to the UK. She says she is very grateful that SAFE enabled her to continue her nursing practice. So what I'm trying to say is that for some of you, you've been here for a couple of years, you're nurses back home. I think if you still want to practice in here, just take the opportunity of using SAFE, okay? And I know most African countries have got transcripts that do not meet the criteria the UK NMC has set, but it's all about your school writing the letter, explaining how your transcript is all about, and saying that your courses were taught in English and stuff. So yeah, I think you can just start with that. It's better to try than not. And yeah, you may not know how to happen. And this lady did try, and eventually she is now a nurse. She said, "I'm happy to share that I received an offer from another ward right after getting my PIN. The matron on that unit is familiar with my work ethics and capabilities and has been incredibly supportive. I'm so thankful. I can speak and express myself to patients. I can explain the condition or whatever is needed for the role. It gives me hope to continue my profession." So this is the story of Marites. I just felt like sharing this story with you because there's one or two things that you can learn from her story to know where to start from, especially if you meet the criteria. But I strongly know that the question you're asking at this moment is that, do I even meet the criteria to use my school's transcripts and supporting information from my employer? I did a video about all this stuff. So I'll be leaving the checklist in the description box. To be able to say you meet the criteria for such, you've got to ensure that all the boxes are ticked. Okay, so you check in the description box, you get a checklist to determine as to whether you qualify for using supporting information from your employer as well as your school's transcript. If this video has been very helpful, I believe that there are others out there who are willing to hear it as well. And if you have not liked this video, I'll be very happy if you can hit the like button. And don't forget to subscribe so that anytime I share a new video, probably you'll be the very first person to get it. I want to put this challenge across. If you've got a topic you want me to cover, just leave that in the comment section. I'll make extensive research about it and then add my experience and knowledge, and I'll be here to share that with you in a video form, making it so practical for you to understand. Thank you very much for being with me up to this point. If Mari's story has inspired you, then I believe that you can go for to also become a registered nurse using your school's transcript as well as your supporting information from an employer. I'm going to leave a link to the story. There are two other stories, one from LB, who happens to be an Indian nurse who came in here as a care assistant. He joined his wife and is now a registered nurse in the UK. So you can read his story as well. And then we've got Erdos. Yeah, so you can see all these stories on there as well. All can be found on the UK NMC's website. I'll leave the direct link in the description box so that you can read and then get to know about it. All these people were struggling with passing out and OET, but eventually had to be successful with their UK NMC registration when they had to use their school's transcript as well as supporting information for employer. Thank you very much for being with me up to this point. Hope to see you in my next video. Bye.